turn the focus to Ukraine. U.S. President Donald Trump has said that the U.S. would send a representative to upcoming peace talks in Europe on Ukraine, but only if there is a genuine chance for a ceasefire agreement. Speaking in the Oval Office, Trump has emphasized the U.S. would not participate if the talks appeared unproductive. Let's listen in.
Look, the United States and the Trump administration continues to be very much engaged in trying to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to an end. The President had a call with Europeans yesterday. His special envoy Witkoff and his team continue to talk with both sides literally as we speak. If there is a real chance of signing a peace agreement, if we feel like those meetings are worthy of someone on the United States' time this weekend, then we will send a representative. It's still up in the air whether we believe real peace can be accomplished and we can truly move the ball forward. The president is extremely frustrated with both sides of this war, and he is sick of meetings just for the sake of meeting. He doesn't want any more talk. He wants action. He wants this war to come to an end. And the administration has spent more than 30 hours, just in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Russians and the Ukrainians and the Europeans and speaking with them as well. So we'll see about the meetings this weekend, and stay tuned.
White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt has added that President Trump is frustrated with the ongoing conflict and seeks tangible results, not just discussions for their own sakes. Here's what she has shared.
Look, the United States and the Trump administration continues to be very much engaged in trying to bring the Russia-Ukraine war to an end. The President had a call with Europeans yesterday. His special envoy Witkoff and his team continue to talk with both sides literally as we speak. If there is a real chance of signing a peace agreement, if we feel like those meetings are worthy of someone on the United States' time this weekend, then we will send a representative. It's still up in the air whether we believe real peace can be accomplished and we can truly move the ball forward. The president is extremely frustrated with both sides of this war, and he is sick of meetings just for the sake of meeting. He doesn't want any more talk. He wants action. He wants this war to come to an end. And the administration has spent more than 30 hours, just in the past couple of weeks, meeting with the Russians and the Ukrainians and the Europeans and speaking with them as well. So we'll see about the meetings this weekend, and stay tuned.
Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has confirmed talks with the U.S. about security guarantees and post-war economic recovery, stressing the importance of international cooperation, especially from the U.S. He has also mentioned that Ukraine could only hold elections during the war if security conditions were met, with U.S. support crucial to ensuring safe voting. Let's listen in.
And if President Trump is speaking more about elections in Ukraine, I want to say this very openly. We can try to hold elections. Ukraine is not hiding from democracy, but to make elections possible, there must be a security component, and America can help with this the most. If there is a need for elections now, there must be a ceasefire at least during election process and during voting, and this is something that must be discussed. And honestly, we think here in Ukraine that America should speak to the Russian side about this.
Trump has noted that he believed a peace deal was close, but that Ukrainian President Zelensky was the main obstacle to reaching an agreement despite widespread support for the plan within Ukraine. Now, for this discussion, we welcome back Mr. Spencer Critchley. He's a communication strategist, joins us live from California. Thank you very much, Mr. Spencer, for staying with us. Now, it seems like rather U.S. is pushy or rushing. What's your take, and why do you think President Trump is rushing this decision?
Well, he's certainly not rushing it very successfully, after famously promising to bring this war to an end easily within the first 24 hours of the second administration.
Yes.
I think we're just seeing a combination of his incompetence and moral nihilism. To equate the two sides in this war and to express equal frustration with the aggressor that invaded one of our allies and has been deliberately targeting, in some cases massacring and torturing Ukrainian civilians throughout the course of the war, and to equate them with the victims of that very aggression and those very atrocities is an example of, as I say, Trump's utter moral nihilism. I believe his only interest here is in bringing the war to an end so that he can proceed with setting up business deals with Russia that will benefit not so much the United States, but himself, his family, and his friends, including Steve Witkoff, his lead envoy, who's busily negotiating deals in Russia and around the world on behalf of himself and his family. There really is a close parallel here between the years before World War II and the present day. Imagine if Winston Churchill had been equally impatient with the Czechs and the Poles and the French and the other victims of Nazi invasions and thrown up his hands and said, what are we going to do? Why can't these people solve this problem for me? Not even, of course, Neville Chamberlain would have adopted an attitude like that, as much of as an appeaser as he turned out to be. Trump isn't just committing appeasement like Chamberlain did. He's betraying every principle the United States supposedly stands for, apparently for no other reason than to just serve his own self-interest.
And you know, from your analysis, now how do you analyze how aligned are U.S. and Ukraine and U.S. and Russia?
Oh my gosh, unfortunately under Trump, obviously the U.S. is far more closely aligned with Russia. And you have Trump apologists and allies celebrating this as a good thing in the United States. This is something that was previously unthinkable here. Anybody who had such opinions would keep them to themselves for fear of the public shaming they would endure for expressing a sentiment like that. The idea that the United States would side with a corrupt dictator who, as I say, is guilty of atrocities, not only in Ukraine, but in the Republic of Georgia, Afghanistan, multiple countries. It would just be unthinkable in the United States. And yet you have people like the famous right-wing media personality Tucker Carlson, I think just today or the day before, talking about how there's a natural alliance between the United States and Russia, supposedly. We have Witkoff coming back from Russia with, the 28-point plan that was the version of the so-called U.S. plan just a few weeks ago, which had apparently been dictated to him by the Russians and essentially represented the same list of demands they've had since the day they invaded. So unfortunately, it seems clear that between these two, I should correct myself from earlier, I guess. It's not that the United States is ranking these two as equivalent. It clearly favors Russia greatly under the leadership of Donald Trump, which again is just would have been unthinkable until Donald Trump came along.
100%, very insightful. With that, I would like to thank Mr. Spencer Critchley for joining us today and sharing that